Shit, I got a brain fart.
I think it started this way last time.
It did. It totally did. Well, hey, welcome back, guys. This is the Houston Collective, where we showcase, today we're not showcasing music, but today we are showcasing someone that is deep in the music scene, and really shout out to him because he's the first guy to ever write any kind of publication on Long River Sessions. So looks like I'm reading, but I'm not. This is just a switcher. But yeah, so let's give them, you know what, I'm going to say this again. The man, the myth, the legend, Jesse Sendejas.
Hey, too kind, Messiah.
Yo, get out of here. You know I love you guys kind of hanging out and everything. And you guys do awesome stuff, especially like with the Houston Press music writing, vinyl voices, you know. And I think that is so needed here. And I think we should have more platforms like that, just so that, you know, Houston gets put on the map more. But, you know, instead of me explaining what you do, let's please give us a rundown. Who are you?
Yeah. So I'm just a guy that likes music, but mainly, and people. You know, I think that's an important part of what we do.
Yeah, very important.
Yeah. And so, but I've been writing about music in this town and people that come to perform here for about 12 years, and then also do a podcast now where for about the last year we'll interview artists, mostly locals, but sometimes like big international artists too, just depending on who we can get. And but it's all for the love of like promoting this scene, these venues, the people that are trying to make stuff happen like you, you know, and to even be a little part of that it's a real honor. I mean, I feel very invested in it, you know.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Like I feel at this point, I can't stop. Like I would probably disappoint more people than anything if I did stop, just because like the scene here is amazing, like filled with such great talent. And for you to be doing this for 12 years, it's like I need to follow in your footsteps and catch up to those 12 years. But so how do you go about finding like talent and stuff like that?
Yeah, most of it is stuff like this. You know, I mean, the times that we've like, you know, talked over however long I've known you now, you know, or trade text messages or emails or whatever. There's been a lot of times when you're like, hey, have you heard of this band? And you know, there's been a lot of times when I've been like, actually, no, I haven't. And I'm someone that's been doing this for a while here. And I think that that's really the way, is that you just talk to people, they tell you about bands, they know that you're doing writing, or maybe you have a podcast and they'll say, hey, what about this band? Have you checked them out? You know, that's a lot of how the local stuff gets our way, or just knowing venue operators that are like, we're doing these shows and we would love some coverage. And, you know, as a music fan, you just pick up on that stuff however you can find it. Going back to, I mean, when I was a kid, there was no internet really. I mean, you know, so we were talking about this, a bunch of the writers for Press got together a couple of nights ago, and we were talking about how we had to go to the store and buy the Rolling Stone or something like that to learn about the bands that we liked, but all that stuff was national. There was no real focus back then. It's just word of mouth. So I think that today, music listeners, especially in this city, have a huge advantage because they don't have to go to online publication that caters just to the big artists. They have Houston Collective to see, hey, what's happening here? What's going on, you know, boots on the ground in this city.
Yeah, grassroots. I freaking love grassroots stuff, man. So when you find an artist you want to write about or interview, how do you go about reaching out to them? Is it like Instagram, or do you do the professional thing and hunt down their email and then?
Yeah, so pretty much. Yeah.
Oh,
There's
right.
still some investigative. Yeah, if it's a big band, you have to try to find the publicist and go that route, and that can be vexing sometimes. But most of the time, locally, there's somebody that knows somebody. I mean, honestly, if I couldn't find a band, I would probably reach out to you or, one of the other writers in town that I know, and hey, do you know these people and how? And then it also helps that like both my kids are in bands from Houston, and so they run in circles with people that know these other people, and it's pretty easy to get to the locals. It's just a lot of times it's hard working everybody in just because there's only so much time to create content. And,
Yeah. So when you do your podcast, Vinyl Voices, how long are you shooting, and like what's the entire timeline look like?
yeah.
Because I know you have to cut it down to 52 minutes.
Yeah. So that thing, it's a multi-headed monster because it goes out in different formats to different places. So it's on the radio, and when it's on the radio edit is 52 minutes. And then we post that edit to all the streamers. Whatever you heard on the radio as far as the original show goes, you're going to hear on Apple Music or Spotify. But then we also film the interviews, and so we use that film footage on YouTube, and it's a broader, expanded show. So, but all of our filming is done basically. We'd set like Wednesday nights aside to meet at our video engineer's studio. It's out in Kingwood, and it's basically like a converted garage, and just kick it, with whoever we want to talk to or folks that have some interest in coming on the show. And yeah, with the production, the post, it's like, it takes a while, but usually we can at least get the audio edit, within a couple of days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're not shooting for an hour, or is this like
we're shooting for like a few hours?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, we'll meet like at 7, and then this might be a shameless plug for, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't do it, but we have a pizza place that's very revered here in town that actually is like our food sponsor, and so the bands will come, have a couple of slices of pizza, we'll drink a few beers, and the first hour is just like this, we're just chit-chatting, and then we kind of get into the nuts and bolts of what we do on our show. It's like song oriented. So, but yeah, we can be in the studio for a few hours, and then our guys will take that stuff and kind of crunch it down.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So the record it's recording for up to 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah, the whole time.
Woo.
Yeah, and then they'll go and pick out what they think is interesting. There's certain things we obviously can't or won't run. Right. But shout out to Jason Esparza. He's our video production manager, and he's done a bunch of stuff with like nugs.net, and he's filmed huge band, Pearl Jam.
Sweet.
All these guys. He's been doing it a long time. And then Kevin Murphy's our audio engineer. He's a local DJ Muskrat. DJ Muskrat. And but those guys are pros. And you know what it's like to have even one or two people that are reliable and really know what they're doing when you're trying to make something happen. I don't know anything about that stuff. The only thing I can do is sit there and talk. So, but like, I know you're kind of like the whole package.
It's tough. Trust me, I don't want to be the whole package anymore.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Is that if you have people that know what they're doing, it just you get it's a nicer experience for the artists that come to talk to you. They feel so such a sense of trust when they walk in to our studio and see what it looks like. They're like, okay, this is legit. Yeah, it's somebody's garage, but it's a thing. So, and then I got to also mention our final team members, my co-host, John Denman, who's been doing media stuff in this town for over a decade, and just a solid dude that also really loves music. And that, for all of us, is the thing that unites us. It's the bottom line. It's the thing that makes us want to do stuff like this with you, where we can further promote that. That's really what it's about.
Yeah, no, freaking super agree with that also, And so wait, what's the video guy's name?
Jason Esparza.
Hit me up. You got to be in that seat right over there soon. Yeah, because we got
he would be a sweet interview. I'll
yeah.
tell you right now.
Oh man. Oh, well, then I'm excited. Yeah, you know, like. And another thing I really don't understand is like the city is so huge, but yet there's still so much gatekeeping.
Right.
Which is like, why do that? Like, someone I was talking to recently was giving out numbers as far as like, it was Sam from Brightwire. He was on KPFT recently, and he was saying that there's like 4 million people here. And really, there's only like 3 platforms that's like doing this kind of stuff to promote music. And before I even got on, it was probably just you on Houston Press, right?
Well, I mean, you know, there is a daily here, and they have done their thing. But I think, not to, you know, speak ill of anyone, but I think that they're also now starting to move away from big national stuff, which is what the dailies do by and large, and really starting to hone in on what the value of these local artists that maybe they kind of missed before. The thing that the alternative independent news has been doing forever.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm proud that I'm part of that. You know, written media is really my thing. You know, I'm a writer and not necessarily a podcast host or somebody you want to see on YouTube.
But you will be now.
but I think that it all goes so hand in hand, and the beauty of it, if we were some of the first leaders in doing that 10, 15 years ago through press, is that now the benefit of it is that we have all these young people like you and others that are like, we have all of this available to us. We can do this on a podcast. We can do this on TikTok. We can do this on YouTube. We can do it on so many platforms. So why aren't we doing it? So let's do it.
Yeah, no, totally. And yeah, for all the young people, they're probably much better at social media than we are, and probably enjoy it, because I'll tell you, like we said it before, I can't stand doing social media. It's not the fun part. I feel like I'd much rather do the boring businessy part than post on social media, make sure I got all the tags right and all that. I'm like, yeah,
there's a lot to it. Even, you know, with the stuff that we're doing with the Vinyl Voices on YouTube, I tell a personal story of like learning from you, because I've been doing this for a while, but I haven't done that part of things. And so as we're putting it together, I'm the guy that gets to write all the descriptions for the YouTube bits. And so initially the description was, hey, check out these guys. They're so cool, you know. But then later it was like, well, you know, you had that video embedded, so we were talking about it, and it was like, you know, it might be good to like actually tag the credit and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I'm so new to this. I'm not a video person either. So picking up on your cue, I was like, yes, I need to go back and do that for these videos where we have local artists that have been producing these videos for these bands that we love. They need to get their credit.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Like that's one thing I try and always do, is never forget to credit the crew. 'Cause that's also another thing out there is we don't necessarily get the credit. I shouldn't say we get the credit. We need the credit we deserve. But it also feels good, you know what I mean? Because I work with a lot of new and upcoming people that haven't been on a set like this. And to have a platform that's steadily growing, and to put all these new people's names on the crew on there, it probably makes them feel good, in addition to being like, yeah, I'm part of that. Like, see, my name is right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
it's a recognition of the work that they did. Plus, as you mentioned, a lot of them are young. A lot of them you're mentoring. And one day that's going to be on their resume. That's something they can use to say, I need to advance my career. I did this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 100%. Yeah. And so, so you've been in Houston all your life, right?
Yep. Born and raised here.
So what kind of evolution have you seen from, I don't know, when you started writing about the Houston music scene to now?
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question.
Oh, right on. Well, I'm new here, so I'm trying to figure it out too, because I know the scene through personal experience, and it does get a little strange. So I don't know if it's always been that way, or if it's evolved. Because I know the legendary Fitzgerald's was
Sure.
like a giant thing here, and now that's gone, and I've only been here for less than 10 years, but I've seen venues go up and down, and certain venues will cater to certain genres and this and that. So I didn't know if it was always that way, or has it evolved? Please,
Yeah.
history lesson time.
That is a good question. I think that it probably hasn't grown as much as we would like. It should be further advanced maybe. And it's a hard thing to say as a Houston music writer. I've written articles about this kind of thing before, and like people, come with the bows and arrows, because it's like how don't talk down on us. Like, we're frequently looked at as a stepchild of Austin or something like that. And we do have a good music scene here. It is really good, but I think where the evolution really needs to be is in the thing like you're doing. We need to. The bands are there, and they're good, and they've always been there. It's more of who out here can help us spotlight that. That's something so admirable about what you're doing, is like trying to bring these different, factions together. Maybe not factions, but groups. Just different. Hey, I know that you do this. Could you be part of the gauntlet? Yeah. And I think that's our biggest growth opportunity. Is the bands are good. They've always been good. We're always going to have good music from this place, because this place has such soul. It's like there's a beating heart here, and people are creative and express that. It's just like, how can we help other people know more about who's doing that?
So another thing, are you familiar with Big E Salazar?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he used to throw on giant festivals here, right? So what happened to that? So I'm not trying to attack you. I'm just getting excited now, and I want to know this history.
Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to ask Big E, but because those were like the Rockabilly Fest and stuff. Yeah. And so I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's such a trip, because even there was didn't 94.5 the Buzz used to throw on BuzzFest.
Oh yeah, BuzzFest.
Is that still a thing?
That's a good question.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I don't know.
Right. So as far deep as we are in the scene, to have an answer like I don't know is kind of a trip, because it feels like there really isn't that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because one of us should have heard something about it.
Yeah. I think recently you posted the schedule from an old Houston Press Music Awards gig, and those things were awesome back in the day. They would bring all these bands together in 5 or 6 venues downtown, and anybody could come and pay $10, and you hear great local bands and probably a couple of headliners from outside of the city back in those days. And we don't have that now. Not in that particular thing. We don't even have Free Press Summerfest, which was a huge music festival.
I heard about that too.
Yeah, we don't have that. There's, in those ways, we've taken steps back, but I think it's probably just you build the building blocks, and part of those building blocks are letting people know we have so much music here that needs to have some kind of platform. There have been independent things like Midtown Music Fest. I forget, there have been smaller ones that have brought bands together to do a bunch of stuff, but we don't have a whole lot of that going on right now. And we have a lot of bands that need to play. Like I know Ojimon did something last year, right?
The Oja Fest, yeah. That was awesome. Like 2 stages and everything. Just having more than 1 stage and a constant supply of music all day, I think that needs to come back for sure. So have you ever put on a show?
I don't think so. Nah. Even with the kids being in bands, I've never been involved in that. It sounds like a huge pain, to be honest.
No, it's not. It's really not too bad, because I'm putting on shows at Ojimon. I don't know if you've seen the events that I've been making silently. I haven't been really announcing it, but it's really not that bad. But It's just a similar thing to this, where it's a live taping at Ojamon, and I think Ojamon is literally the perfect place because they have music 6-7 days a week, and it's all different genres, and they're accepting of like everything.
Right.
So it's like, how perfect is that? And they're also letting me block the dance floor to get like the optimal shot. But anyways, enough of me. But like, I think that would be definitely cool, to like maybe one day have like the Houston Collective stage, have the Vinyl Voices stage, have the Music in the Minor League stage.
That would be awesome.
Right?
We
yeah.
should do that.
Yeah, no, that's why I was like, have you ever thrown on a show?
Yeah, well, you're putting some ideas in my head on my side.
And I think that would be literally have our own South by Southwest. Look, I love Austin and I love them for doing that, but that, like, I don't want to drive 3.5 hours. I mean, I do, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I love this. And I love the idea of, especially the podcast, having their own stages, because now you're not just promoting the bands, but you're promoting music podcasts that originate in this city, and maybe you do bring in a headliner or two from out of town that are friendly to that sort of idea to help grow something. I mean, this is very exciting.
Right? No, dude. I'm telling you, like, I know.
We're doing this on the spot, y'all.
Yeah. No. So, and I think that would be, it doesn't have to be as constant as, once a month or even twice a year. Like, I think we should do something like this, once a year, and just have and spanning multiple venues or even stages or whatever. I don't even know. I just know that we need to keep working towards putting Houston on the map. Whether it's because at first I wanted to put Houston on the map and have people have more butts in seats, but I feel like that is an uphill battle.
Right.
Because
sure.
like I've seen heavy hitters play and no one's in the crowd, which is, I think, still kind of weird. Mm-hmm. But somehow turning Houston more into like a media hub for musicians passing through and having it, from going from little to no content to having too much content out there.
Yeah, definitely. That idea is that we do the thing that we're supposed to do and say, maybe you don't know about this, but you probably would really like it, and we're the people that are going to inform you that this is a thing that's happening. And so to be able to do that as a collective, the thing that you've been promoting is very appealing, because at Vinyl Voices, we did talk about, like, we should do a fest. But when you start looking at doing something like that on your own, it's pretty daunting. But if you have, 3 or 4 good partners that are like, we're all focused towards the same thing, I think it takes a little bit off of each entity. Mm-hmm. We're all still getting the benefit of, like, here's what we do. We do the same thing they do, essentially, but a little bit different.
Yeah.
But it's all the same goal. All comes back to the love of the music and the scene and the people that we, want to meet out there. It's such a huge thing. I mean, this.
Yeah. No, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. And as you're explaining it to him, I was like, ooh, yes, we need to do this. Maybe in a year or maybe in 2 years, but I would love to do this like next summer.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Oh, same. Okay. All right. Well, then you heard it here.
Signed up now.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I should have consulted you first, but I mean, I think our guys would totally be into it, and. Maybe we get press in there somehow. They've been there and done that, but again, they have some interest in seeing that people are interested in music here and what's happening.
So back to your Vinyl Voices podcast. So when you get a submission, is there like a meeting where it's like, okay, we got these submissions, we can look through these, is there a criteria? I mean, you totally don't have to answer. I'm just curious as to how you guys do it versus how I do it, because I'm just like going through there. I get submissions, and because I'm doing long drives, I'm like listening to everything on their podcast.
Yeah.
So like, what's like y'all's process?
Yeah, generally, what's the first year, I think what our process is still, has to kind of be determined because for the first, we've done about 36 shows, I think, and probably the first 18 or 20, it was like, these are all the bands that we already know and love, and we want them to come on. So our very first band is a band called Jump Rope. That is an incredible indie rock band here in town. It's just a trio, but they're all amazing musicians. They write such catchy songs, and we did them so dirty because we're like, we need to have someone who's really friendly for our first show in case everything just goes awry. And they were so cool to be like, we will do it. And they came, and like for an hour and a half before we ever taped 1 second of the show, we were just kicking it by the pool at Jason's house and like laughing, cracking up. It was amazing. And then we get in the studio and it's like all of it shrinks down to like, oh, we're doing this now on camera. So they're definitely going to get a do-over. Y'all are getting a do-over, guys. But also that's kind of how it's gone. It's like, who do we know that we want to talk to, that we want to talk about, that maybe other people don't know? And that's how the show has been constructed for the most part. But now that we've kind of gone through that personal list of the few of us that put the show together, well, we want to talk to these guys. We want to talk. It's evolving still. We're getting submissions, and for us, it's like we have to really each bounce off each other. Does this work for this show? Because one part of it is that, and we've struggled with this, is that our show is on the radio, and the radio station it's on may have some say in like a certain type of music that's out there. So we have to be considerate of that too. The gatekeepers you're talking about.
So is it the radio station or is it FCC rules?
That's a good question. Probably a little bit of both.
No.
I don't think the station has put too many cuffs on us. They've been pretty cool about just letting us do the thing, but it's probably more FCC oriented. We have to be cognizant of what's going on the radio in prime time on this particular station.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Like, I had to go through FCC training rules, and I will shout them out every freaking time. But it's okay. It's okay. It makes me smarter to dance around those rules and figure it out. But so I know you know me by now. I bounce all over the place.
I love that.
Okay,
that makes the best interview.
Okay, good.
They like that too.
You better. So when you find an artist you want to write about on the Houston Press, and I know I only know from when you hit us up and we did the phone thing and then you asked questions, or when I saw you at the Idol show, you were there taking notes and stuff like that. Yeah. Like, what's that process like?
Yeah, it's a lot more involved.
Really?
Yeah, and it's so personal because I'm not consulting anybody else. It's just my thing, which I like. I mean, I like working as a team. It's different. But when you're just doing it on your own, really the only person I typically am sharing that with is Mrs. Sendejas, because she comes to all the shows. Obviously, I don't want to go alone. Although she did skip the Idol.
Yeah, I was just about to call her out for it, but it's okay. You mentioned it, and all agreed.
Yeah, we were going out of town the next day, and she's like, you know what? I'm going to hang back on this one. And I was like, oh, I'm going in the pit. So, but yeah, I think that I'm so practiced at the writing thing. A lot of times people be like, you're a good writer. And I'm like, well, I'm a practiced writer. I've rehearsed over and over and over again. And, it really is just mostly now for them, it's what do I want to write? I basically get to pick and choose. I'm not getting assignments from an editor. I pitch the articles I want to write. And so if there's somebody like, I wanted to interview idols, so I got to talk to Bowen, and it's like, if I can figure out who to talk to from their label, the publicist or whatever, can I do this? Yes, go ahead. So we did a Zoom. It was cool. Yeah. And but stuff like that, I mean, print media right now, it is what it is. You're not going to, stack dollars in your bank account necessarily from doing that stuff, but it's still fun. It's still fun to be able to talk to somebody, pick their brain, figure out what makes them tick. Why did you create this art? And do you know that other people think the same way you do? Because they love it, you know? And to be able to do that is what I'm interested in. And so, yeah, I try to do it with I think you guys actually pitched the sessions for a story to press. And then that is one, yeah. Because maybe Thomas wrote an email to the Houston Press, and then the editor did actually, is anyone interested in this? And I was like, well, I am. You know, I didn't know you guys, but I'm glad I picked up the assignment because, you know, that's what it's about. You get to meet cool people that are trying to do the damn thing. So.
Yeah, no, definitely. So do you have like a template of questions you ask for the podcast and your writing? Or like, how do you even go about, because that's one thing I'm definitely struggling with, is coming up with questions, but it always turns out into like some weird back and forth ADD conversation. But
yeah,
do you have a rhyme or way to get that going?
Sure. For the podcast, it's pretty easy because we do have a format. It's like Brightwire came on, let's say, since we're talking about those folks. They're super cool. Yeah. And they're fellow podcasters.
Yeah.
So they have some awareness of how it works. But our format is just bring us 4 songs. They're your songs that you wrote. And we're going to ask you about those 4 songs and try to learn more about you from the song. And so that's what we did. And that's the format for every single one of the shows, except we have done like a little bit of festival coverage where it's more fest coverage type questions. We're not really focused on songs. Or we did have Christian Nodal. He's like a Mexican music superstar. We interviewed him on his tour bus.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. And we did like a bilingual episode. So both his Spanish-speaking fans and English-speaking fans could come to one place and enjoy that, and it was like probably it definitely was our show that got most views and hits, but again, by and large, we have a format, and those questions come easy when it's just, well, what's that song about? Well, why this? You know, from a personal interview with someone for the press, it's a little bit more detail oriented. You want to know or promote what they want promoted, for one. Most of the time they're on tour, or I just put out this new video, or we have a new album, and so you're going to gear a lot of your questions towards that. But there's always room to like just try to learn more about the artist, and that for me is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm interested in people anyway. You know, to me, I'm like you. Like I have like a term for this, and Tish will tell you, I mean, we're like hummingbirds. So I don't know if you know, but hummingbirds, like, they can't really slow down. They have to keep beating their wings, or else there's a risk that they'll like go into a coma and like their hearts will stop beating.
Oh, wow. So it's that serious. I mean, I did hear about this, but I didn't know it was that serious. And I can totally relate to that.
Yeah. And the other part of it is that they go around every day to like some crazy number, 200, 500, I don't know, different types of like flora to get their nectar. And I feel like those artists that we interview are the nectar. The people that we come across in life are our nectar. We have to keep going to them to get what we need to keep our wings beating. And so if you're a person like that, the questions come easy. Like this right here, you and I could do this all day.
Yeah, we can probably have a 3-hour podcast.
Yeah, and I don't feel like it would be strained or that people would think, wow, they were just all over the map. No, it's just a conversation. Yeah. You know, that's really the best part of what we get to do is we're just talking to somebody else.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And that's one thing I'm trying to lean more into, because I'm fighting between looking like a professional radio host or being me.
Yeah.
And it's like a weird struggle, because it's like I want to give good content, but then again, I think I can talk really well when I'm off the cuff like now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm comfortable with you.
Right. Yeah. I think that's really the thing, is that finding that comfort level. Like, we know each other, so we both knew this would be a piece of cake.
Yeah.
But when you're talking to an artist about their work and that kind of thing, you know, yeah, it takes a little preparation, but once you get in that groove, because they're interested. You know, they're very interested in letting people know what they're up to. You know, and so I think too, the fact that both of us have some personal investment in this music scene helps us both a lot. I mean, from you're just so interested in knowing all of the players and bringing stuff together that you can't help it. You're going to be a person who's interested in what the person sitting here has to say. And I'm the type of person, and I told Tish this before, when I first started writing for press, I have a full-time day job that is my, bill-paying gig. So.
Oh, okay. I remember you saying that. I assumed that was the Houston Press.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, this other stuff is just peripheral, and mostly the reason I got into it is because the kids were playing music, and my brother sent me an ad that, hey, Houston Press needs writers, and you're a writer, you should do this, and it's about music, and you can learn. And at the time, they had already been doing music for 5 years, and they never got any press. And I tried to always keep in mind, if they did, what kind of questions would people ask them, and would they be interested in them? And so for me, the personal place it comes from for me is that I want every artist to be treated like I want someone to treat my guys. That, I don't want you to have like a 5-minute interview and then I'm just going to go write whatever. I want to know what you're doing and what it's about. So.
I think that's anyway. Well, I don't want to cut this off, but
yeah.
Well, either way,
we already came up with a genius idea. Which is.
Speaking of the genius idea, no, I had you in mind. Well, speaking of the genius idea, so let's get this on the air. Are you guys down to actually? I'm gonna make this announcement when this episode comes out, or whatever, to actually be part of the media gauntlet.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know all that's involved with that, but I think basically what we're talking about is just trading ideas and notions and helping each other out to create the scene to be bigger. And yeah, without even talking to my fellow peers, I think that they would all agree that that's so important. It's self-serving and that it benefits all of us to be able to come together, Voltron it to be like
yes,
yeah,
Voltron it. Yeah, I mean, essentially it would be we'll pass these musicians around to all the platforms.
Yeah,
because I had Bar Rats on here, and then they're going to Music in the Minor League, and then I'll obviously get all your contact information, the official ones, and then put it in my follow-up email.
We could do. I mean, from the standpoint of Jesse, I mean, I definitely could do something on press for them, because again, it's just pitching to the editor. I want to write about these people, and I do have their contact information. Awesome. But whenever it got sent over, that's pretty much when we were like, we're going to take a little bit of a breather here.
Yeah, no, totally. And
that is so cool. So they've gone on your show. Yeah. They've gone on Sam and Kim's show and Health.
Yeah, Health. I know.
Can't leave Health out. They come over with us. They get a Houston Press, and now when they are getting ready to go talk to some label, I have this, and this. Yeah.
That is the key point. Is it's not about having the guests on, but it's more about having the guests have enough content to push out there. So
I love that. Yes.
Yeah, awesome.
Jesse is definitely signed up, and I'm pretty sure Vinyl Voices is too.
Okay, cool. Well then, I appreciate you coming by once again, and on a different format and a different place. But either way, the love is still there, which is Houston music, and the key is to blast it out there and make everyone force-fed into listening to Houston music. Yeah, I mean, it's still good stuff, but yeah. So Jesse, do you have anything else to say before we dip out of here?
Nah, just thanks for having me. As always, it's just it's so easy but it's like we just pick up wherever we left off, and anytime you ever want me to come by, or we need to bring Jason by, or whatever.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. I want to interview your entire crew.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe make a big, you know, make the collective even big. I mean, we don't even have to use that name. I just use that because this is the Houston
That's the
Collective.
right
But you
word.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like everybody needs to hop on. No gatekeepers here, and it's all love for the Houston music scene. And I'm your host, Messiah. Goodbye.